Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Raw Uncovered Truth of the Awakened Soul with Nicole and Kristi. And I'm going to pass it over to Kristi for our angel message for today.
Hey, everybody. Today's message is all about your shadow self. Angels. Your shadow self is not an opponent to be defeated, but a part of you yearning to be acknowledged and embraced. It holds lessons of your struggles, the depths of your emotions, and the truths you might hesitate to confront. By honoring your shadow self, you allow yourself to grow authentically without fear of judgment from within. Embrace this polarity. For within the darkest times lies the potential for profound healing, self-discovery, and balance. Embracing this side of yourself is not a sign of weakness, but courage and self-awareness. It reminds you that every aspect of who you are has value and deserves love. Your shadow self is not to be suppressed. It is the reservoir of untapped strength and potential. Within it lies part of you that is raw, unfiltered, and deeply human. This hidden side holds the energy of your emotions, the lessons from your pain, and the truth of your vulnerabilities. By facing it, your shadow self, you are accessing profound power, a power that fuels authenticity, resilience, and creativity. When you honor your shadow, you break free from the illusion of perfection and you embrace the wholeness of who you are. It is through this union that shows true strength. Affirmation. I honor all parts of myself, including those I once kept hidden. I welcome my shadow with compassion, knowing it is a source of wisdom and strength. In my wholeness, I find truth. In my power, I find my light.
Okay.
Wow.
So let's just start with shadows and the angel message itself. So that's basically what I had in my hands before I don't know what you started speaking, and then like I completely lost the message, but ironically enough it was about, like coming into one with your shadow self and, coming into union and kind of loving on that aspect. Okay, so I'm just going to shout it out about the energy and where we're at today, and we're working on like very interesting effects as far as, like we're not really have the right mics today. Nothing really seems to be connecting to our computers today.
So everything is
And Mercury hasn't
insane.
even like, actually went retrograde yet. So, but we're dealing with the lovely energy of March anyway. Um do you want to talk about I don't know, guys. We're all over the place today. So bear with us. Um
I was
we
thinking, I
Go
was
ahead.
thinking about the energy today, as we've been
Yeah.
talking a lot about the energy and what's been going on in the outside world. And this morning, I was telling Nicole, I woke up and I felt like I was living my life and fast forward. I felt like I was moving so fast, but yet the world around me seemed to be moving in slow motion. I thought this was interesting, and I would like if anybody out there is a light worker or a spiritual worker to let me know if they're feeling the same way, because I'm wondering if the spirituality right now is running at a higher level and everybody else is kind of still sitting in slow motion.
We're also like processing out a ton of shit for the collective right now, and I think that's what kind of makes us seem like, you know, we're moving at a fast pace, even though like we're trying to nap every 5 seconds. And I'm not even a napper, by the way. Um, versus like, not going fast enough. And I even said this to you before, like I noticed it when I was driving today because I'm like speeding, but like I normally like people will, comment about my driving and I drive fast anyway. But this is totally different, right? Like I'm like anticipating like everybody moving and like nobody's moving. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like it's just like, beside it's the world around me feels like it's like you said, like we're going like and like everybody else is going. So I'm going to kind of relate it to the March Madness energy that's happening. Obviously, we discussed physical symptoms last week. I don't remember if we touched on the headaches or not, which I wouldn't even describe
Yeah,
as
we did.
headaches.
We
We
talked
did.
a
We
lot
talked
about
about
it.
headaches. I don't remember like what exactly we've touched upon, but also a lot of solar flares have been hitting. I want to say within the last 24 hours. So that's also going to take a toll on us as well. So those symptoms are uh, basically are more stomach issues. So like, your stomach could be growling, it could be tense. You could be really hungry, you could be not hungry at all. Also has to go with the March energy as well. So you really don't know like what's going on. I will say this in April, things will calm down. I would love to say even after the eclipse on Friday, things will calm down, but I'd be lying to everyone, including myself. So it's not, like just wishful thinking that April and May are going to be a lot more relaxed. And then, we don't have to, don't get your hopes up until then. I wouldn't be getting my hopes up at all. Everything is just, you could have 5 minutes from now, like the best 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later wanting to like can't even keep your eyes open because it's the energy is so heavy and it needs to be transmuted. Again, I'm going to stress light working out if you can. If you're tired, try to close those eyes, even if it's for like 5 minutes, and like let everything kind of just go through your body. Grounding is a necessity right now, especially with the full moon on Friday, on Monday. Oh, I was gonna say Monday, so obviously Monday is gonna be some sort of loveliness if that just slipped out of my mouth.
Just
I
great,
wonder
Nicole. Just great.
I wonder if that's when like the Neptune thing happens. I keep forgetting about that, and then I don't know when exactly that's happening, and that hasn't happened in like hundreds of years. I'm not an astrology guru, but if I just almost slipped on Monday, then I would think that or just Monday in general might be just fun for everybody. I mean, I know it's St. Patrick's Day, but I'm not picking up on anything that has to do with that. Um, so yeah, so basically, energy, we're gonna just, help you guys through March as much as we possibly can. I mean, we're dealing with it just as much as you are, not probably more than you. So it's just, it's an experience. Um,
March is going to continue to be a roller coaster of the highs and the lows. So
yeah.
it's like you're going up and everything feels great. And then all of a sudden you're kind of crashing down. And I think it's interesting, Nicole, talking about the angel message, the facing the shadow self. A lot of us are facing, and we talked about this last week, a lot of us are facing the shadow self in March. So I feel like when we're on this roller coaster effect, that high is going to be, we're feeling really good. And then something's going to happen and our shadow self is sneaking in. And the reason why it's sneaking in and dropping us down is because it needs to be looked upon and healed. March is all about, deciphering our energy and seeing what is the best parts of ourselves. And our shadows, believe it or not, we all try to suppress them, but they really hold the depths of us. And that's what the message was all about. So by suppressing your shadow self, you could be suppressing this authenticity part of you, creativity, something that you've never knew existed. So by healing it and bringing it out, you can learn so much more about yourself.
Well, that's the whole point of loving your shadow self. Every single time I open the book to something, I swear to God, everything's coming on the divine masculine, which I think is hilarious because although I love my masculines, I really didn't want to talk about them today. Um, as far as shadow self, it's you know learning your shadow self and loving on your shadow self is where you find the most light. So
Right.
that's where you're going to find the most light. That's where you know everything's going to fully open up, and you're going to realize, your whole point of view is going to change after love on your shadow side and heal those. March in general is huge purging, right? Because not only are we not being able to take the lessons that we're supposed to be learning in past March, right? I mean, this is kind of like the point of no return, I want to say, is March. So you kind of have to go in, you have to make room for what's coming. So in order to make room for what's coming, you have to purge everything out. And I think that's why March is getting such a bad reputation, because the energy is so intense, because it's making everybody really look into their lessons and not rush through them either. So like if you think that you know your lessons and you're like, okay, great, I learned that and I'm going to detach from that. Don't detach too soon, because if your lesson is not, if you're not healed from that and you didn't learn that lesson, it's going to come around and bite you in the
Mm.
ass again before March is over. So beware of that. Also, you have Venus in retrograde, which is every relationship basically you've ever had that you're not healed from is going to come up and see where exactly it is that you put yourself in places and situations where you didn't belong, and you're going to have to heal that as well. And really, healing is just loving on yourself in that moment, right? You're apologizing to yourself, you're giving yourself forgiveness. It's all about forgiveness. You're forgiving everybody in that situation. Especially yourself. You're loving on yourself. You're loving on that person. Again, doesn't mean that you have to speak to that person ever again. Doesn't mean that you have to have any type of physical communication, physical relationship with that person that was in that situation with you. You're just sending them love and light, and you're moving on. And it's forgiveness for you. It's all about you. All about you. Always. Power is yours. Pull your power back from every situation you can think of right now, and kind of just process that and love that, and integrate that, because that's what's going to really launch you into April. And I can't stress that enough, because I mean, I was listening to a podcast on Friday and I sent it to Kristi, and she used a great I guess it's an analogy, metaphor, or whatever, of jumping out of a plane, right? And Kristi and I have used the mountain analogy even in our second episode, in our second podcast episode. And I thought like the mountain, like, climbing, it's like climbing a mountain when it's raining, sleeting, during a hurricane, during a typhoon, like it's like you're trying to climb up and everything's like, trying to push you down. So in the podcast that I listened to on Friday, she used the airplane method. It's like, oh, you want to go skydiving, you want to go skydiving, you want to go skydiving, right? So like you get up in the plane, you're all excited, right? You want all of this, like this excitement, this momentum from jumping out of a plane, and you get up there and you're like, no, ma, I'm not jumping, like I'm not doing that. And like you're the guy that you jump out of, I forgot the hell his name is, but whatever, the person that jumps out with you, it's like, yeah, well, you don't have a fucking choice, this is what you wanted, so now we're jumping out, and like literally like pushes you out of the plane. And that's basically where a lot of the collective is right now, because we're like, oh,
Yeah.
we wanted this beautiful life, right? We wanted to shed all this stuff. A lot of us can sense like what's coming, right? Like a lot of us can see like we have these beautiful visions of what our life is supposed to be. However, we need to shed everything that is standing in that way. And that's what March is basically doing. And so yeah, so it's like you're jumping out of the airplane, and like right now the parachute is being launched, and April would be more of the gliding down. But right
Right.
now we're just
Right now we have to
everybody's
make the
jumping.
jump, which is, yeah, make the jump, which is the
Yeah.
purge. And the work this month always, it sounds really great, right? The work this month sounds really great, but then when you get there and you got to really dive into it, it's kind of like oh, I don't know if I want to do this right now, but you're being urged, you're being pushed to do it. And that's why I
Yeah.
think so many people are feeling, Nicole, like we've been feeling with the headaches and the stomach aches and the anxious energy. It's the push to do the healing. It's the push to get through and do it in March, so that you can get everything that's on the other side. Because come April, or even throughout the summer leading into 2026, is going to be really big for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
talking about the masculines, because going back to the masculines, I feel the masculines, from what I've been kind of seeing and feeling into the masculine energy, is that masculines right now are really struggling more in their physical bodies, where we're struggling more in like our mental bodies. So they're struggling more with how they're seen in the outside world right now, what they want out of life, what direction they want to go in, how they want to be valued. I feel the masculines in that position right now, where they're more grounded here in the 3D, like they should normally be. And
Yeah.
we're kind of trying to work on our shadow self and do all this other work, and they're really just trying to get grounded and figure out where they want to be, you know, in their workspace right now.
Well, if we're going to talk about the masculine collective, so then let's go for it. So being that I like to dive deep into the masculines over here, I can say that right now is a huge purging for them, and it's more of a purging to old illusions versus what's really real. And I think that's what's coming into play right now, and that's going to be huge this eclipse season. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of masculines do shift during the next 2 weeks, which would be like really presentable, but like visual, like you could see it. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, yeah, I agree. It's going to be seen because they're working in the 3D. So it's going to be
Yeah,
more visual, I
visible.
can't even talk today, visible
Is that
than
what
what the
we're trying to
feminine is doing, because the feminine's working inside. So that's not going to be as visual. But the masculine, like I said, he's working more in the 3D world. So that's going to be more visible. So that'll be his workspace, people that's been in his life that he's starting to see. It's more of like an illusion around him. It's not his real wants and needs.
Well, yeah, the illusions are coming down. So the
Yeah,
illusions are breaking for the divine masculines, and then their whole their their world around them
right.
is
Their
is going to
persona.
change. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's going to change in March. I want to say we're going to see that in March before the new moon is what I just heard. So that's exciting. I mean, like,
Do you
listen,
think it'll be something more visual that will show up for the masculines as far as doing the work? Because I always feel like the masculines, most masculines, not all, are a little bit behind the feminine. So if we're doing the
a
work in
little
March,
a little behind the feminine.
uh,
I love
you
you
said I
masculine
need to
co-heads.
be kind to the masculine. I'm being kind to the masculine.
Listen, I am all for them. I mean, look at me. I'm trying to develop a program that literally helps them step into their divinity. I'm all about the masculines, but they are a little behind
Yes.
the feminines is
So
maybe a
right,
little bit of an understatement there. However, the feminines need to start the more the feminines, step into their power, the faster the masculines will step into theirs, because it literally is the divine feminine, right? The divine feminine, not just a feminine, a feminine in her pure divinity, in her pure state, is what magnetizes and pulls up the masculines to be in theirs. So,
right.
you have to understand that. So whoever's listening, if you're thinking like, oh, just a regular, feminine who does no work on herself is going to pull up a divine masculine, it's not going to happen. Everybody needs to step into their power. And by the masculines, we would be the female collective would be extremely helping the masculine collective if we did the work on ourselves and stepped into our power. Because again, I'm going to repeat myself, the masculines will follow because they'll feel the call to step into their divinity a lot faster, which I think is happening for them. They're kind of going through what I want to say, a speed course in stepping into their divinity versus, well, actually, I can say that, but I can also say that 2025 in general is a speed course of
Yes.
stepping into your divinity, whereas over the years, it has taken a lot longer. So you have, both those aspects to take into consideration. Um, the masculine in general is just driven by a more clear, direct purpose, versus the feminines that are not, and we're
Right.
basically more in the meaning of love and just energy wise, where the masculines have more of a direct purpose, and they do well with that, and that's what makes them so grounding for us as well. Yeah, my masculines. So yes, so what I could say is they're definitely going through some shit if it hasn't started already. From the eclipse, it'll definitely hit them somewhere between, I would say, Friday to the next
Yeah.
week. and it'll
I
just
think the illusions are starting to be seen. They're starting to break it down a little bit. So I agree with you, Nicole. Come towards like, maybe after next week, something's going to be visual for them to start making moves in that direction.
yeah, and it's going to be like more of like really huge aha moments for them, because they're going
Mhm.
to be sitting there and literally like 1 second, be like, why am I thinking about this? And 2 seconds later, I have this like huge epiphany moment, which I wish I could actually see some of them like, go through that process. But, like, can I just monitor you guys and make notes for myself? But, it's to me again, like them leveling up, right, is more exciting for me. Only because I mean I have been seeing this, not that I haven't seen like, us, the feminine collective, or just in general, all of us, elevating. But the masculines I've been feeling for a really long time, and I love being able, especially because I am, unfortunately, and I say this with like a not so pretty face, an initiative, right? Initiator and initiator, for them to do the work. So to me, this is spectacular. It's less work I have to transmute if they just like step into their divinity. So I'm, all for you guys, and rooting for you 1001%, the masculine collective. Um, what I will say is, again, you have to give yourself the love and compassion, that you would anybody else. And that goes for masculine and feminine. During this time, I cannot stress enough, when you're doing shadow work, to really, really love on yourself, right? Really love on yourself. Take extra care of yourself. Watch the words that are in your head, that are, circulating. If they're not nice, your mindset's kind of off. Step outside, get air, do something, exercise, something that clears your mind, ASAP, and kind of go into the correct mindset. Ego, check the ego. The divine masculines watch the ego, and I'm saying that right now. There's a very thin line between confidence and ego. So in order for you to finally level up and not fall back down, you have to check that ego. um it's very, very necessary. And
The ego is
the
going to continue to show up this month because we're processing so much. Your ego is
oh, because we're
automatically going to want
purging.
to get in the way. And for the
Yeah.
masculines, I mean, they live a lot off their egos. So as soon as like anything challenging jumps in, masculines, just be sure that you push that ego aside and continue on the right path. And don't let the ego get in the way, because there's going to be so many ups and downs throughout the month that the ego will be there to just take over for divine feminines as well, because
Oh,
we get
absolutely.
stuck there too.
I just want to point out to my masculines that, listen, once you leave your ego, it doesn't mean that you're going to be this person that women walk all over. If that's the case, then you're around the wrong feminines, and they're not in their divinity. You will become pure and within your purpose, and you will magnetize in what you're supposed to be doing, your life purpose, who your divine counterpart really is, and everything will be balanced. Everything will be, I was going to say complete reciprocity, but that's the same thing as being balanced. It'll just be, it'll be a different feeling. You'll be extremely confident, but you won't be cocky about it. Same thing goes for feminines, but my masculines, it's like I want them to be perfect so they could help us, because that's basically what you're doing. You guys are standing in you're going to stand in your divinity, and you're going to literally ground the feminines. So I need you guys to step into your divinity. I need you guys to really like, embrace it, and embrace your soul purpose, and be the transmuters, not even the transmuters of light. It's like, you're just helping bring in the light. You're helping channel the light for the feminines, and for the feminines to do even more work, spiritually, like we are supposed to, apparently, in the new earth, come the new earth. But it was also, that was, the original plan anyway. The blueprint was for the feminines to do a lot of the astral work,
Right.
while the men kept us grounded here in the physical. And this is where you guys shine, and you guys, I don't know how to, you guys just shine
In
in
your
the,
yeah, like shine in your authenticity,
yeah,
push the ego away. It just, if you're not living in your ego, you're living in authenticity. And when you live in authenticity, everything in your life seems to just circulate right around you. So I think, Nicole, what we're trying to say is for divine feminine and divine masculine, living in authenticity is living a true life. It's
yes.
it's loving every bit of yourself. It's loving your shadow. It's loving your good parts and your bad parts and putting it all together. That's what's human. You're not always going to be perfect because that doesn't exist. And you're not, you can't always live in your shadow. So a good healthy mix is where, we all need to be. And that's what helps us grow into, the best versions of ourselves.
Well, that's coming into divine union with
Right.
yourself. And that's the only way you're going to come into a divine counterpart situation is when become, you know, oh my God, the energy is so
It's just the
insane
energy. I feel like I
that
can't pick up on any words. I feel like there's so
my
much I
head's
want to
going
say,
like
but
go,
nothing's
go,
making
go,
sense.
go,
So
go.
it's going to be one of those episodes. So
It is going to be one of those episodes. I can't wait for next week when you have Mercury retrograde and we're fully into eclipse season. But anyway, just love on yourself a lot in March. That's all I have to say. Like I really can't stress that enough. And I want to say that there's this one episode in particular that you should go back and watch that has a lot of shadowness to it. But listen, guys, read the titles. If anything pops out to you, definitely go in and take a look. And whatever rings at the moment, like kind of sink into that as well. Um,
Nicole, I want to talk a little bit about healings. I was thinking about this the other day. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they seem to be thinking that, oh, I'm going to pick one thing to work on myself, and then I'm going to do all these different meditations, and it's going to be a rapid healing,
yeah, okay.
and and I'm going to, move on to the next. But like you were saying earlier, not really clearing that energy. You think you are,
Right,
but
and
you're not.
detaching prior to when you're right, to when
And
you're
then
ready. Okay.
overusing meditation. And I think so many people think like, oh, okay, I'm going to do multiple meditations in one day. And there's a certain aspect of overusing meditation that can actually make you more like less grounded and more anxious. So I was trying to explain that to a few people who, want to try everything at one time. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, what are you working on right now in within yourself? Maybe you're working on your anxiety. You want to help to calm your anxiety. Start by doing a small meditation in the morning when you wake up just to ground yourself, and then maybe another one in the evening to calm yourself before bed. Don't do 6 7 meditations a day. It's too much. You end up being up here, and then you can't be down here, and then you have a disconnect in your body, and that causes more anxiety.
Yes, well, I mean, I will be the first one to tell you that yes, that happens. And Kristi will tell you that I've done that like a million times. Like I will take one meditation and do it like freaking 20 times in a row, and I'm not grounded anywhere. I'm literally floating away somewhere, and like trying to call yourself back and ground yourself into the physical is the one of the hardest things to do when you are in that type of situation. So take it easy on the meditation, guys. The reason why you're having anxiety is because you're fearing the unknown. So really work on that aspect as well. If you stop fearing the unknown, the anxiety will calm down. Which is what a lot of the light workers are picking up right now as well, is because we're picking up on, you know, the collective
Right.
anxiety of what's next, right? So you guys obviously don't know what's next. You have no idea what's next. Not saying we have like all power to see what's next either, like with a play by play, but we do know that, what we are have become well aware that there is always something next. So even if you can't see it, you kind of have to lean into it and kind of let go and lean into it. So if the anxiety is picking up, especially this month, and as Friday gets closer, and I would say even next week in general, I would definitely focus on the fear of the unknown, because if you could release that,
Mm.
that's a big one, and that'll definitely, catapult you forward as well. Um,
Transmuting the energy, the grounding process, and I've been saying it, ground for March. The grounding process is so powerful. That's why instead of going and doing meditation, you're better off getting out in nature, going for a walk, going
yeah,
for a gym, moving your body around to release that anxiety, instead of sitting in one position. Where right now I do feel, and I don't know if you feel this, Nicole, the meditative state for me right now is actually giving me a little bit more anxiety than just
it's giving you more anxiety. Yes, because I was sitting at the nail salon before and it was like quiet for some reason, which is like a never. And I was like, oh no. And I could feel myself, because I'm so exhausted and sleepy, that I'm like, I could feel myself like going into that meditative state. But all I'm doing is, because we're picking up on the collective. So all we're doing is picking up on more massive amounts of
right.
anxiety that we have to transmute out. So definitely, definitely try to get outside in nature. 100%. Grounding can be as simple as literally just standing up and like, mentally picturing cords coming from your tailbone and the soles of your feet all the way down into like middle of earth, and like anchoring around like a really big large tree trunk is how I would like to call it. And then just pull yourself down. And it's as simple as that. So if you have to do that like several times a day during March, do it several times a day. It's not even questionable. Just do it. Continue to do it. Again, if you have any questions, obviously reach out to us, comment on the podcast, message us on the side, which is a usual thing that keeps happening. But regardless, we love it, and we will help you as fast as we can. We will get back to you. Grounding is a necessity. Eating vegetables and fruits, like I cannot specify, like I really try to do that as much as possible in March.
Everybody's energies around you for the rest of this month are, if you think about the way that you're feeling, I mean, even as a healer and a light worker, I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety, picking up obviously on everything around me. And, but even within my own life, everything's running so rampant right now. It's just, it really is truly chaotic all the way around. So that's why staying grounded is so important, to keep within your own energy. So, like Nicole said, anytime you're feeling the outside world, just reground yourself within you. And when you're doing work, meditative work, try to keep it within you, a purpose within yourself, not for the collective outside world, at least just not for the next couple of weeks. Because I think that right now, even as a light worker or healer, sending out a lot of energy is kind of hurting you right now. If
Well,
that
it's it's
if that makes sense. I
it's depleting, which is why I think that we're so exhausted, and we're so tired, and even if you don't consider yourself a light worker, and you feel very off uh, these especially today. Today is a very, I mean, today the energy is so unexplainable. Like I can't like get a definition of what the energy feels like today, besides being in fast, like in like a fast paced motion, but seeing the world around me in slow motion, and then being exhausted because I feel everyone's anxiety of what's next, what's next, what's next. So stay away from the news. I'm going to say that again. I get it. Like, there's so many things changing, but it's just crumbling, and like this whole new system is being built for us in the world around us, and you will see. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I promise it'll be better, because everybody's going to have that different point of view towards what's going on. But it will be. And I still, maintain that excitement, as crazy as that is, for the future, because I am like literally, and that's another thing as far as future and fast pace and speeding up and anxiety is the time. Some mail just came in and like told me a handful of information. I don't know who it was, but I want to say it was some type of Egyptian god because he's the whatever. Anyway, so let's discuss time because that's what I was just called to discuss. Um, as as I've mentioned several times, is that time is really there's no such thing as time. We are the only beings that use a clock with actual time on it. That seems to be dissipating, right? So I want to say it started in December where you would write down like I always had this calendar for the kids and I always wrote down everything. And by the time I like finished, I felt like I was writing. It's just the days kept going in, and I just eventually just stopped writing on this one specific calendar because the days were going so fast, so fast, so fast. Time has definitely picked up. The You could look at time and it doesn't really resonate as much as it used to. And I know I'm not the only one that's feeling that. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh, I have like 5 minutes to get somewhere. And then you're like, it's either you're still in that 5 minutes, right? It's like time didn't move at all, or time sped up. But like in either in either case, it's like the time is becoming irrelevant. So also keep an eye on that because time is becoming completely irrelevant. And that's just because the veil is getting thinner and it's getting easier and easier to see past the illusions, to see past everything that has literally been put on us, since the dawn of time, I want to say, since our existence here. Um, so time, keep an eye on that. The anxiety, I'm going to say right now has got to stop. So that's coming in from source. The anxiety, you guys, there's so much more to life, right? Than just what we are now. 9 to 5 jobs are going to be absolutely, I'm probably going to give more anxiety right now than than anything, but like your normal average everyday job is kind of going to be a lot of healthcare jobs, a lot of wellness is going to be very like up there. um Digital AI type of opportunities. You know, a lot of oh God, I can't, I'm trying to find the word to explain it, and it's just not a lot of tech jobs. A lot of tech jobs are definitely going to be a thing because we're turning into this world which we've kind of the majority of us that are here right now on planet Earth have lived already. So, going back to like Lemuria, Atlantis, especially Atlantis, like they had a massive amount of technology. And I know that like you probably can't comprehend that we've had massive amounts of technology like this before. It just totally blew up in our faces, and that's when we had to start over again. And that's basically what we're doing now. Only this time it's more on a hate level. Like we've, the darkness and the light kind of just really got out of hand, and now we're recalibrating this way. But technology is going to be big. Again, healthcare is going to be huge, and it's going to be more of an earth-bound medicine than it's going to be an actual like real pharmaceutical drugs that are like bad for you, that
Right.
have all of these side effects. It's going to be like all more naturally led based. Lots of healers are going to emerge. Healers in different, you know, there's all of us have a purpose, and we may have similar aspects to each other, but all of us are different. So we're all going to have our own superpowers. Some of our superpowers will just be, again, just being us, like just, going to our job every day and doing whatever it is that it is, and just spreading the light there. It's going to be different. The world is going to be different. I'm going to say that a lot of us a lot of you guys who are not there yet will definitely start to see that come April. You're going to start to see a new version. Like you might even like walk outside your house and see like it'll be like a completely different point of view that you're having, and you're going to be like, oh my God. Like walk back inside and be like, what the fuck was that? And then walk back outside and be like, okay, like this is my new reality. So you guys are going to start seeing things in a different, with different eyes, with a different whole other different aspect.
Right.
Lean into that, right? So again, you're dealing with the shadows, right? You're dealing with the illusions, the breaking of the illusions. Um, you might during this time like nod your head to yourself, like, I cannot believe like I was stuck in that. I can't believe I believe that. I can't believe I went through that. Like there's going to be like so many emotions, but again, I tell you to keep the humor in it. And I say that because I know what it's like, right? So keep the humor in it instead of getting like very sad. And of course, you have to feel those emotions, process them. Again, go back to that version of you, pound yourself, pat yourself on the back, kiss your forehead, hug yourself, do whatever it is that you're meant to do. But you know, and yes, process those emotions. If you need to cry, you cry, but you have to laugh because it's the laughing just exudes the energy. So it like it gets it out. It gets the stuck energy out. And really the bottom line here is that we all signed contracts to come here and we're basically all in a play. It's a play. And I say this all the time. We have, each have roles in the play and we need to play them out. So laugh it off, guys. It's really, life is not supposed to be that serious. And the second that you realize that, you know, it's going to be a huge game changer. And that comes with the, fear of the unknown too, because you really do, like, your soul knows what's next. So, it's the ego that doesn't, and it's the ego that gets like all crazy and be like, oh my God, I can't let go of this. What's going to happen if we don't believe in this anymore? And oh my God, what's going to happen if, blah, 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 blah. Like it's, that is just your ego. And you really need to be like, okay, like it's just, you're stressing me out. You need to like take it back burner and move forward. As far as meditations, try to keep them to once a day. And at this point, I would do meditations that kind of, any grounding meditations I would do versus, I don't even know if I would do clearing. Um, I would,
I would say grounding and chakra balancing
yes, that's what I
meditations
was
are
gonna
very
say.
important
Yeah,
to do those type of meditations, grounding chakras. Um, Trying to think if there's really anything else, but
definitely keep those chakras
yeah. And
clear.
by keeping the chakras clean and clear, we're gonna help with it's gonna help with the anxiety. And always remember there's so much going on around us, but we can't control everything that's going on around us. All we could do is live within it. So going back to talking about transmuting the fear into excitement or laughing it off, like Nicole said, we can't control anything that's going on around us, that doesn't have to do with us. We have to kind of move into it, kind of feel around it and go with the flow. So instead of being so fearful or so anxious about it, think about the positives that come along with it and try to stay within that. Like Nicole said, the news right now, the social media right now, it is not going to do anything to help you. So if you could just stay away from it, that would be your best bet. I mean, so many people get stuck in this fear-based mentality by just scrolling night and day, listening to everybody else's opinion on what's going on. And at the end of the day, it is just an opinion, and you're entitled to have your own, and they're entitled to have theirs. But you can't get stuck up or caught in that. You just have to continue to keep making moves, keep living your life, playing your life out the way you want, and let the world around you just kind of play out the way it needs to. And don't try to feel like you have to fit in a certain place, because that's another thing about March that's going on, and that's why we're saying the breaking down of the illusions, the breaking down of people, is that don't feel that you have to fit in a certain place. If you feel that you don't fit there, there's a reason. It means that you're growing away from that. So let it be. If you're not agreeing with other people and you feel like they're living in this dark shadow and you want to move away from it, then do that. Don't let somebody hold you back because you're afraid of what they're going to think of you.
Okay, so that kind of brings me to this. I'm going to read this to you guys because it came up in my news feed this morning. As I tell you guys, stay off social media. But listen, I only go on Instagram because to me, Instagram is much more, and I only have it like where for some odd reason positive things come up. So this is my go-to. But it says the lens you look through determines the world you live in. If you see limitations, you live in a world of walls. If you see possibilities, doors appear where others see dead ends. If you expect resistance, you'll find it. If you expect flow, reality bends to meet you. You don't receive reality as it is. You receive it as you are. Shift
Mhm.
your perception and the entire game changes. So that's basically where we're at right now in the month of March. Is your it is really learning how to detach, but again, not detaching too early. It's okay to misjudge your intuition, right? I'm going to say that even today, like even like not only just back then where you're going back and you're working on your shadows and you're saying, "Oh, this is when like I missed that, opportunity to do something because I didn't listen to my intuition." Or, "Oh, this is this is when I missed that opportunity to just shift narratives and in general, like or to get out of a situation." And I didn't listen because I didn't trust my intuition. Okay, it's okay. And you just go back and forgive yourself. You have to make light of the situation. You cannot put all this pressure on you, hold all this weight anymore. Our human bodies are not built to hold that anymore, and it's going to cause the strokes, the heart attacks, the
Mhm.
cancer. It's all time to release all of that and literally step forward. Yes, step forward into the unknown. I'm telling you guys, it's okay. I step forward into the unknown. I live in the unknown every day. It's so much fun. It actually is. You really honestly never know what's coming at you. But you do know that the universe has your back, and that's where it's at. Um, I was going to say something else regarding that. As far as what Kristi said about when you don't feel like you fit in anymore, do not squeeze yourself to fit into that box. That means that you are doing the work on yourself. You are evolving. That's your purpose. That's what you are supposed to do. That's what all us humans are supposed to be doing is evolving. You will never be perfect. Humans will never, ever, ever be perfect. We're human. We can't, like, as light beings, yeah, we're fucking badasses and perfect all the time and all over the place. That's humans, dealing with human emotions and all this other humanness, like it's completely different. So take that into consideration. But we do not squeeze to fit in anywhere anymore. Just
No.
detach yourself from the situation.
The more that you do
Um,
that, the more that you do that, the less
the
you're gonna
more you
grow.
prevent
You're not gonna
yourself.
grow.
Yeah.
You're gonna stay stuck. Nobody should live in a box. Nobody should be pinpointed as who they are, so many people are like, oh, well, this person's this, and then you're pinpointed in there. You don't want to be pinpointed in a box. If something's not fitting in with you, there's a reason for it. And if you keep continuing just to stay in that box because it's comfortable, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to release your shadows and grow from that position. You're always just going to stay there because that's where you're comfortable, and that's the people or the position or whatever however you want to look at it. That's where you're comfortable. You need to move out of the comfort zone and make yourself uncomfortable in order to be able to heal those aspects of yourself and move on to another level.
It's so funny. As you're saying that, I can remember like millions of times where I felt like uncomfortable, like comfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to change, like to,
Right.
to move out of that situation. But I'm like, I don't even get there anymore, which is great because again, like I dropped the fear factor. Huge thing to drop,
Yeah.
guys. It doesn't but
I
it's such a game changer.
It really is. And I always feel like when you get to a certain point of healing, you know it's funny, you have friends, you have close friends, but their voices and opinions, they don't sit with you, and you don't feel like you have to like be only with one group of people, right? You have a vast of people that you're involved with, and it's okay, and these people know that it's okay to have your own position and your own take on life, and they're not just stuck in this little box. So once you do get out of that and you do heal, you are met with so many great like-minded people on the other side, where you don't feel like you have to hide anything about yourself in order, to say who you are. You can live authentically, and that's the whole point.
Well, that's when your soul family comes in. The more that you become true to yourself is when you call in all of these, all the divinity, right? So it's like your true soul family. Just some can be related, believe it or not, to you. The majority usually are not. so but like these people will come into your life and it'll be a different type of conversation. It'll be on your level.
Mhm.
Again, don't be afraid to, keep your distance from people that don't vibe with you, that don't meet your vibe, that don't that you can't have these full-blown conversations with, walk away. They have the opportunity to do the work on themselves and level up to meet you where you are. Um, again, the power is with you. Uh, do not chase. There's no more chasing. Chasing's over. If you feel like you're chasing, find out why you're chasing. Sit with yourself and figure out why, because there is
That's,
no more
yeah,
chasing.
that's within your shadow. So if you're chasing something, that's a shadow aspect of yourself that needs to be healed. There's something about that situation that you have to go in and heal.
Don't chase careers, don't chase people, don't chase anything. Chasing is kind of done. I'm over that. It's over. It's like a done. We're not even talking about that, because it's, you shouldn't even be chasing if you're listening to us. We're past that. So get past it. That's it. It's like bottom line here. Close that out. Close out the fear. The fear is a big thing. You really have to close out that fear of abandonment, fear of anything, fear of the unknown. I'm going to stress this the entire episode. It
Mhm.
needs to go. You really need to just sit with yourself, because your soul already knows this. So I'm not saying anything that is like mind blowing to you, because your soul already knows that it's okay with the unknown. It's you, your human self, that's stopping it. So, it's time to tell your human self to get it together, and we're not going to fear the unknown anymore. We're going to jump into, the next stage of our lives here, and move forward. Um, I'm trying to think of what else. Brace yourself, guys, for the full moon on Friday. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. So the full moon is going to be very interesting, as well as Saturday when Mercury goes retrograde. So if you're already experiencing very interesting technical difficulties, just going to get worse. Not even going to sugarcoat it. So that would be Mercury retrograde for you. The full moon is an eclipse. The eclipses are timeline shifters, are huge timeline shifters. So I know, like, a lot of people right now are talking about the Schumann resonance. If you do follow that, it's basically just flares, solar flares, hitting the earth, which I did kind of talk about in the beginning of the episode, and how it affects everything. They say, like, once we get like really big ones, it's a timeline shift. I'm gonna have to go against the grain with some people and say we are not timeline shifting as a collective for that at this moment. We're shifting all together, and that's coming with the eclipse. And the eclipse is going to be a whole new world for us. So, get excited. Stop being so fearful, and get excited about the future. It's literally about becoming, stepping into yourself, a version that you've never met. So obviously it can be like, what's going on? Kind of embrace that, embrace your little tiny imperfections, and really love on yourself. And again, like, brace yourselves for this weekend, because it's gonna be a wild one. And hopefully next week we'll have more of a leveled out type of energy. Doubtful, but it'll be maybe more of a clear purpose of what we could help you guys with, versus just letting you know that more crazy energy is on its way. I feel like I'm the reporter of, like, crazy energy, and nothing else to tell you. um
It
so
seems
yeah,
that way though. It seems that way right now
it definitely
because
seems
the
that way.
energy is so, it's just so like heavy, and all you could think about is how you're feeling within your body and things that are going on within your body. And it's, you can't even comprehend anything else besides that right now. And I thought it was just us, Nicole, but then I listened into so many other people talking in the spiritual world, and they're all talking about the same thing. Everyone's talking about it, and it's,
Yeah, which is actually pretty funny, right? It's like
yeah,
when you hear
it's
somebody else talk about it, you're like, oh shit.
like, oh shit, this is real. It's not just me. And I thought maybe it was just me, honestly, because my life right now is just like in an uproar. I am, you know, I'm going through so many things in my house, and you know out on the outside world and work and everything, and I just feel like everything is just so busy, and like one hit after another. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just me. And then I started listening in. I'm like, no, it's everybody. Everybody's going through it.
Everyone's, a lot of things are crumbling down and rebuilding. So let's definitely we could draw attention to that as well. Again, just saying happiness, and even if things look like complete shit at this moment, it's going to turn around, and it's going to turn around faster than you expect. So and don't expect the unexpected would be my theme for March. Well, that's usually my theme for full moons, but it seems to be an ongoing theme for March in general. But being that we're coming into eclipse season, I will definitely say expect the unexpected. So again, I'm going to stress any relationship that you're not, supposed to be in, any relationship situation that means work, platonic, romantic, anything that is not built on a solid foundation is going to crumble. But the good news is it's going to rebuild, and it's going to rebuild better. Um, so yeah, so your life could look great right now, and tomorrow, look like a complete shit show, and just laugh it off. Literally just go sit outside. I don't care if it's cold, snowing, raining, or it's like 100 degrees, just go sit outside. And just like, sit in that energy. Also, grounding, go outside without shoes on, even if it's freezing for like 5 seconds, as long as you could take it. You could literally just step outside barefoot and picture those, those roots coming down out of your feet and your tailbone, even, standing outside. But that is the best way to ground yourself, is to walk outside and do that as well. Expect the unexpected. It's going to be a really huge theme for coming this weekend and the next 2 weeks. Is going to be a firm believer of expect the unexpected. Um,
If something
Mark,
arises too, like in those situations, when if it comes to a friendship or a partner and the same type of situation happens again, this time you have got to make the change and let it go. Let it go. Don't repeat old patterns again. This
yeah,
I feel like there's people that are listening that constantly let people take advantage of them or tell them who they are or what they need to be doing, and they constantly let it happen. Something's going to happen by the end of the month that will crumble that relationship, and you've got to be strong enough to let it crumble and move away from it. This is a time where it needs to happen. You've got to walk away in order to grow.
yeah. This is going to be the month. So whether you want to or not, if you're in that situation, and the universe and your guides are pushing you, like you're starting to see it crumble, you're going to be ejected out of it. And I've said that, like, several times. You are going to be ejected out of situations. If you are starting to do the work on yourself, you're going to be ejected out of situations that no longer suit you, that no longer benefit you, that no longer align with you. Your purpose is a lot higher than the dense reality that you're living on, and that you're viewing at this moment. Um, so you have to be ready. So I'm telling you, get ready to step into your highest self, because you're going there. You don't really have it's basically written in your contract that you're going there. So best of luck, and kind of like, again, let go, detach, but do it gracefully. Do it where you know that lesson is definitely learned and you're going. But half of you guys are going to be ejected onto your asses anyway, and you're going to be like, oh shit, like now I really need to step into, a higher version of myself. So so yeah, I think that's basically it. We're gonna end this episode. Probably really short today. I'm not even sure, and a little chaotic, but it kind of goes with the energy and what we're feeling. So if we're feeling this, we could only imagine how it's affecting you guys who really don't know what the fuck's going on, and like really like opening your eyes to like a whole new world and not knowing really what this world is. So we're here to tell you that it gets a lot better after March. But in general,
Hang in
it's
there.
yeah, hang in there. But even in the crazy March energy, it's still fun and still exciting, because there's a whole entire world waiting for everyone to step into and live. So kind of have that picture in your head. Always picture like the best abundance, the best prosperity, and how you feel in that situation, right? How it feels to be literally living in that situation. And I think that's where we'll sign you guys off for today. Right? Is that a good way to end the note, guys? Stay positive. Have those really, like, feel those feelings of you and those amazing situations that you're going to be in sooner rather than later. And expect the unexpected, because that's going to be fun. It really is.
Well, we'll be back
We'll be
right
back next week.
after the full moon. So we'll have a lot more to talk about. But like Nicole said, positive mind, positive life. Thanks for joining us on the Raw Uncovered Truth of the Awakened Soul. And we'll catch you next week.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.